Why do I say that manifesting your desires is as simple as making a cup of tea? Well, the reason is it just follows exactly the same process. And the second thing to bear in mind is the bigger the why is, the bigger the desire that you have, it's obviously going to be a bigger process and probably take you a lot longer than making a cup of tea. However, the step by step in creating whatever you want, whether it's attracting your soulmate, whether it's overcoming addictions or eating disorders or weight problems, or rekindling your relationships with your partners, your family, or creating financial freedom. These are the key things that people tend to struggle with. It's usually health, relationships, or money. If you follow the same process as it takes to learning to make a cup of tea, whatever it is that you want, it is just as simple as making a cup of tea. So if you look back on everything in our lives, it's like everything that we achieved was by starting not knowing anything about it. So before you made a cup of tea, you had to first find out about how to make a cup of tea, right? So maybe you'd I don't know, there would be something inside you that desired a cup of tea. Maybe you saw other people having a cup of tea and you thought to yourself, if they've got a cup of tea, why not I have a cup of tea? So then you start researching. Maybe you go on, I don't know, YouTube, or you ask somebody, how do you actually make a cup of tea? And then you go and prepare to make a cup of tea because you're certain that you are going to have that cup of tea, right? So you wouldn't just sit there and just think, oh, I feel so positive that the cup of tea is going to land on my lap. If I think about it enough, it's like, oh, I deserve a cup of tea. Oh, I see the cup of tea. No, you actually prepare it. You go to the shop, you buy your cup, like your tea bags, and then you buy your cup, and then you go home, and then you put the kettle on, and then you start the process. And first of all, you probably haven't got a clue that you needed to boil the kettle. So you probably put the tea bag into the cup and then nothing happened. And you're like, and you don't go around and think, oh, bloody hell, why isn't this bloody cup of tea working? You don't just give up because it didn't work. You just try again, just figure out why it went wrong. But you keep trying until finally you realize, oh my God, I had to boil the kettle. That's what's missing. So you try again. You boil the kettle, and then you put the water on, and then you're thinking, well, this doesn't actually look like the cup of tea that I've envisaged. I actually envisaged something a little bit milky, a bit sweeter. This one is like a bit bitter. So at that point, you don't give up, do you? You don't think, oh, this is absolutely rubbish. I'm just going to tip this tea away. Actually, you probably tip it away, but that's not the problem. The problem is not about tipping it away. The problem is giving up and thinking, well, that's absolutely rubbish. My first cup of tea was rubbish. I'm not going to even try again. But it's surprising how we treat the whole of our lives like that. We try maybe 1 or 2 times. We might even try it 3 or 4 times, and then we give up because it doesn't look like how we want it to look. And but if you look back on every single thing that we've achieved, especially things that are quite significant, the things like having a baby, for example, you didn't expect to have a baby when you had had sex once, did you? Maybe you were lucky you had sex once and you had a baby. No, you kind of tried again. And in the process of trying for a baby, hopefully you kind of enjoyed yourself. And what I found in experience of helping people with people who have struggled with getting pregnant is that often the reason why they don't get pregnant is because they're like going, right, it's ovulation time, come on then darling, get your kit off, let's do it because it's time for me to have baby now. Guess what? Like, there's so many instances where people are not getting pregnant because they're too stressed about it. And then you hear so many stories, the moment they stop stressing about it, the moment they give up, the moment they give up, guess what? They get pregnant. What else is there? Like the driving test, you can name so many incidents about it, and the magical thing that happens when you go bigger, obviously. So actually, maybe you're thinking, well, obviously you don't really need as much work when you're trying to learn a cup of tea. It's nothing like being a millionaire, for example, Mel. It's a little bit different, isn't it? Or attracting my soulmate. It's not like making a cup of tea. It's not as easy as making a cup of tea. It's not as easy, but the principles of getting your soulmate, the principles of creating financial freedom, being a millionaire, is all the same thing. You have to, first of all, there has to be a real deep reason why you want it, because there's going to be times when the tea bag ain't going to do nothing. There's going to be times where it's not going to taste exactly what you want. The why has to be crystal clear first.